crisis, the troubles, the trials, the shadows, the sorrows, the long nights, the hard fight. We are the prophets, the voice in the darkness, declaring the battle is yours. We'll sing hallelujah for all held in here. Shout out Hosanna above every fear. Strongholds will crumble like castles of sand. We are marching on. We're marching on. We're marching on.
Oh, to taste, oh, to see, oh, the wonder of your majesty. Every star, every galaxy, every heart could dare to dream. Oh, to know you, to shine like stars. Heaven is where you are. To see your glory, to know your heart. Heaven is where you are. Oh, to taste, oh, to see the height and depth of your love for me. Caught in the current of a grace so deep, where the Spirit of the Lord is, I am free. Oh, to know you, to shine like stars. Heaven is where you are. To see your glory, to know your heart. Heaven is where you are. The mountains shout, the oceans rage at the mention of your name. All of heaven, earth proclaim, you're the name above all names. The mountains shout, the oceans rage at the mention of your name. All of heaven, earth proclaim, you're the name above all names. Heaven is where you are. I wanna be where you are. Oh, to know you, to shine like stars. Heaven is where you are. To see your glory, to know your heart. Heaven is where you are. Heaven is where you are. I don't need another reason. I just think about my Jesus. I don't need to hype myself up. I just think about your love, your love, your love. Just think about your love, your love.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Community Covenant Church this morning. I want to wish a happy Father's Day to you all, and also acknowledge that this can be a complex holiday for many, as relationships are complicated at times and have different nuance to them. But welcome to Community Covenant Church today. If you don't know me, my name is Brian. I'm one of the pastors here. Some things you can expect during our service today. We're gonna sing some songs, and we will have the lyrics for some of them on the screen. Some of them you will have to find the blue hymnals around you for the words. We'll have a sermon. We are gonna pray for our high school Mexico trip that's going out this week. But at this time, I'm gonna invite Violet to come up. She is going to read our call to worship this morning.
Good morning. Today for the call to worship, I will be reading a poem in honor of Father's Day by Emily Orta. This one's for the dads, the biological, the step, the chosen, the ones who never asked for recognition but earned it 1,000 times over. Thank you. Thank you for being our first example of strength, not just in the way you carried the heavy things, but in how you carried us. When we were too tired, too scared, too lost to stand on our own, thank you for every sacrifice no one ever saw, for the paychecks you stretched, the sleep you lost, the hobbies you let go of so we could have more than you ever did. Thank you for the rides to practice, for coaching from the sidelines and in life, for the awkward school dances you chaperoned, the dad jokes we rolled our eyes at, the way you always knew when we needed advice, even when we said we didn't. Thank you for always showing us what love looks like in action, and the everyday things, the oil changes, the scraped knees, the quiet check-ins, the way you somehow always knew when something was wrong by the look on our face. You taught us that being present matters more than being perfect, that real love doesn't always look loud, but sometimes it looks like holding steady when the rest of the world feels shaky. And to the men who stepped in when they didn't have to, who filled the space, who gave their love freely, who chose to be a dad in every way that matters, you are the definition of love without conditions. You didn't need a title to become someone's home. So today we honor the dads who stayed, the ones who stepped up, the ones who built legacies in the little moments and left fingerprints on our hearts that never fade. We honor the quiet heroes, the loud cheerleaders, the soft-hearted tough guys who love us through every version of ourselves. And if no one's told you lately, we notice, we remember, and we're better because of you. So happy Father's Day.
Good morning. We have a special treat for you all. One on yourself. One by yourself. Yeah. So we'll begin with Ode to Joy. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee. That should be in your hymnal. Yeah. Hymnal.
Joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers
into sun above.
melt the clouds of sin and sadness, drive the dark of doubt away.
Giver of
Immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day. All thy works with joy around the earth and heaven reflect thy rays. Stars and angels sing around thee, center of unbroken praise. Field and forest, vale and mountain, flowery meadow, flashing sea, chanting bird and flowering mountain. other. All who live in love are thine. Teach us how to love each other. Lift us to the joy divine. And the mighty chorus to the morning stars begin. Father love is reigning o'er us. Brother love binds man to man. Ever singing march we onward. Victors in the midst of strife. Joyful music lifts us onward in the triumph song of life.
Joyful music. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
You are.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
You are.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
You are here, turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
You are.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker.
Promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
You are.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
That is who you are.
That is who you are. That is who you are.
Will we ever rise? Will we ever rise above the fear? Can we learn to see the need? Can we share humanity? I can see another day come. Broken people, we can be made whole.
We can be made whole. We can be made whole.
As we lay down our weapons, open up our hearts.
Remaking us, love remaking us.
Will we ever rise? Will we ever rise above the pain? Can we learn another way? Forgive as you forgave. I can see another day come. Broken people, we can be made whole.
We can be made whole. We can be made whole.
As we lay down our weapons, open up.
Our hearts, pain is breaking us. Love
Remaking us. Come heal now, take away the blindness, so we can see as we were meant to see. I feel like devastating darkness. I can see another day come. I can see another day come.
broken people. We can be made whole. We can be
Broken people, we can be made whole. Broken people, we can be made whole.
We can be made whole. We can be made whole.
As we lay down our weapons,
Open up our hearts.
love is breaking
Making us. Love is making us.
Will we ever
Ever
rise?
rise.
Will we
We ever
ever
rise.
You may be seated.
Did it work? Okay. Hello, my name is Amy Fout. I'm the children's minister here at Community Covenant Church. If you have children who are younger, nursery aged or preschool, we have spaces for them over here in this part of the building. And we also have a fireside room with some toys if you feel like you want to stay with your child. And if you are a child in kindergarten through 5th grade, please stand and you will join us in the CE building for some special time together. Anyone else want to stand beside Elijah? Yeah, there we go. Adults, please join us in blessing our children. We send you with our blessing.
All right, as the kids head off, I am going to introduce our speaker this morning. We have the privilege to hear from Ryan Clint. There's a little bio about him and his family. Yes, all right. No more needs to be said. Ryan, come on up and let's hear from you this morning.
Oh, dude, I love you guys so much. You know, it feels like, you know, when your mom is like building you up to, you know, other friends. So you guys love me and I love you, and it feels very special. So thank you. So I'm talking today about theologies and theologies. So for some of you who don't know, my wife and I and my kids, we serve with, we go to the next one, Wycliffe Bible Translators, which in Mexico and in the state of Oaxaca. So right up there in this little corner between the state of Oaxaca, Puebla, and Veracruz is where they speak 11 mutually unintelligible Mazatecan languages. And so and here's those Mazatecan languages, and that little black area that says Mazatlan, that is the municipality that we work in. The other 10 languages are spoken in those other areas. If we go to the next slide. So these are some of the people who work on our team, who we know and love and have taught us the language. We have Antonio Cid Moreno. We have may she rest in peace, Cidia Moreno. We have Araceli Filio, and we have Alfredo Cid, who have been constant companions and friends and brothers and sisters. We love them so much. Yeah, next we're going to go. Sorry, I have to take my glasses off to read, and so you're going to see me do this a lot. I wish I didn't, but yeah, it is. Okay. So I hate healthy food. So my wife has taken to making oatmeal, and she puts like flaxseed in it, and she puts stuff in it, you know, so like the fat-free cheese and quinoa instead of rice and egg white omelets. I really don't like them. You know, I confess my platonic ideal for a breakfast would be like black coffee and like fried chicken, waffles, and bacon. You know, that would be wonderful. But I am aware that healthy food is actually good for me. That I, because of my differences, because of my likes, don't have a different body than people who like healthy food. So I know that I should eat better, and I should only have chicken and waffles like, I don't know, it's a decade maybe? I'm not sure what the appropriate time. But the healthy food, I just derive no joy from it. So some of you actually like planning healthy meals, and you get some sort of a jolt after, you know, eating healthy and making healthy things taste good, and I think that's really good. And you have shown me, those of you who like to eat healthy, that you can prepare food without frying it and without adding sugar, and I have really enjoyed that. So I get it. I get that it is possible to derive joy from healthy human behavior. I'm aware of that intellectually, and I'm waiting for that to sink into my heart. Now, I love intercultural communication, miscommunications. I love these little silly misunderstandings when someone says something innocently in one sort of culture, and it is interpreted as being slightly profane in the other culture, and people are all like, I think that's the best thing ever. I love it. However, I also know that there are some times that people will come back and they're like, I'll have like some guy who looks like me, they'll say, I have a Cuba Libre. And you're like, oh, dude, just say Cuba Libre, or just say a Cubano sandwich. Or they'll say, I have a croissant with café au lait. And you're kind of like, dude, just say, you know, croissant, it's fine. Or I went to Jamaica. Or you've seen these sort of things, these memes online. I understand as well how that is irritating, right? You sort of like roll your eyes, and oh, geez. But for some of us who live and who love these intercultural communications, those aren't really irritating, they're fascinating, right? And so I'm going to ask you to find these intercultural miscommunications, these intercultural issues fascinating. I'm going to argue that it's the healthier way to look things. And I also hate healthy food. So if you are irritated by these little cultural misunderstandings, I understand you. It's the sort of flaxseed sort of way to approach cultural misunderstandings. And I get how wonderfully wicked chicken and waffles are, right? It's fun to roll your eyes and be like, ugh, geez, this guy, you know, one semester in Madrid, and he comes back and has to say Ibiza all the time. I understand it. But my family and I, we use Spanish and English and Mazatec on the daily, right? We worship with brothers and sisters that speak in these languages. And so sometimes when you ask us to revert to our like base, you know, like most authentic selves, sometimes it's on a tapestry of cultures that is so complicated, it's hard to figure out which is the authentic one, right? And lots of people exist in this space. And so lots of people say things that we feel is put on and is irritating. But for many, many people, you don't quite know what the authentic one is. It's like the authentic one is all of them and none of them at the same time. I'm just going to ask you, and for some of you, you're like, yeah, right on. You're like me, and you love the healthy food, intercultural reactions. Some of you don't love it so much. And if you don't love it so much, like I still love you, right? I still totally get it. But we're going to have to be, I'm asking you to look at things in this sort of relative way. We're going to read Acts 2 here. This is Pentecost, which I know was last week, but, as a Bible translator, you got to give me a little bit of space, right? So, when the day of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place. Suddenly, a sound like the blowing of a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. They saw what seemed to be tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit led them. Now, they were staying in Jerusalem, God-fearing Jews from every nation under heaven. When they heard a sound, a crowd came together in bewilderment, because each one heard their own language being spoken. Utterly amazed, they asked, "Aren't all these who are speaking Galilean? Then how is it that each of us hears them in our native language?" Parthians, Medes, and Elamites, residents of Mesopotamia, Judea, Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, Egypt and parts of Libya near Cyrene, visitors from Rome, both Jews and converts to Judaism, Cretans and Arabs. We hear them declaring the wonders of God in our own tongues. Amazed and perplexed, they asked one another, what does this mean? Right? So during Pentecost, we often celebrate our unity in the church and celebrate the Holy Spirit as she pours herself onto us, regardless of where we are from. But for these Jews present at the first Pentecost, they were confused by all of these languages spoken at the same time. What does this mean? Have you ever heard a sermon preached on the Tower of Babel? It is, like, what does that mean? It's confusing, like truly confusing, right? And so some of you might see these, people like in a grade school production, of all three people raising their arms together. What does this mean? But I'm asking you to wrestle with this truly. Like, what does this mean? I honestly don't think we as Christendom, not just we in this room, I honestly don't think we've understood what this means for us as Christians. What does this mean that everyone is hearing the word of God in their own language? They were Jews gathered for Passover, right? They were celebrating their Jewish identity. They have a sacred language, right? Like Muslims have Arabic. Why didn't the Spirit speak to them in Hebrew? Reifying their Jewish identity, their unity in that identity, they didn't. I think for us Americans, that would make the most sense of anything. Well, they'll all speak the same language in heaven. Like they're all Jews together. They'll all speak, they'll all understand Hebrew. Hebrew will be what unites them. But that was not what the Holy Spirit did. She did something else. And so what does that mean? Oops, actually, can we go back then? Yeah, I like that. So this is the beginning of a new church that is radically multi-ethnic. And we see that even in the Jewish sort of context, it is still radically multi-ethnic. People from all over the place. That's a lot of languages in just 2 verses that we're given there. A lot of different ways of expressing, which was addressed, right? We have different dialects that are spoken in the United States of America, right? We have from the Bostonian sort of accents, and these are true dialects. We have dialects that are even more profound. We have African American vernacular English, which has distinct grammar, and it seems to be the driver of every youth culture for the past, forever, right? So we have a diversity of language amongst us. So, sorry, forgive me. Let's go back one more time, forgive me. So we now exist as co-inheritors, as brothers and sisters with a lot of different type of people, right? Radically different. And so we have to struggle with that. What does this mean, right? They don't speak like us. They don't behave like us. So what does it mean? We're going to go to this next thing. And you'll have to forgive me. I've studied linguistics, and so it is one of the ways that I sort of process things. I try not to be pedantic. I truly do. My kids will tell me that I miss the mark, and I'm pedantic often, because many of you know it feels so wonderful just to teach someone and to, and not listen to what they're saying. So forgive me if I'm entering into that territory. So there are three main types of function in human language. This is across all human language, not just English. We have reference, we have attribution, and we have predication. In most languages, these line up with, the next one, reference is usually established by nouns. We have attribution, which is usually established by adjectives, and predication, which is usually established by verbs. Okay, this is really things. These different functions behave differently. And I'm going to ask us to consider how these functions interact. This is so nerdy. Interact with the function and, okay? So and, we have all of these different and languages. We're going to look at and in relation to, first, attribution. So we're going to look at and in attribution. So we have a boyfriend. Imagine you're a young woman who is thinking, they're like, oh, I don't like being single. I would love to have a boyfriend. So we'll say, I want a boyfriend who is going to be Christian. Okay, good Christian girl. God bless her. And he's going to be Christian, and he's going to be educated. Okay, it's a Christian educated boyfriend, Christian educated, and kind. Great. This is a good girl. And tall. Not so great. Not so great. Right. But if we see all of these ands are restrictive, they're reducing. Gotta go to the next one. So and is reductive when used with attribution, okay? We can track this. So this and concept is reductive, right? We make things smaller. Now let's look at and when it comes to reference. It's nerdy, hold with me, stay with me. So let's go to the next one, and with reference. So let's say we're early humans, we've just domesticated these dogs, they're wonderful companions, and we have dogs. Dogs are our companions. And then we go later on, and okay, well, there's cats. Well, dogs and cats can be our pets, dogs and cats. And so we have to have a different set. So these ands, there's no dog that is a dog and cat, right? We're not looking for a subset of dogs that are cats. We're looking for dogs and cats. Okay, and then when we get later, much later, and now there's turtles. All right, so there's turtles that people have as these companion animals now, and so we've got to go, so we have these concepts of what can be a pet, right? We have dogs and cats and turtles, and this forces us in joining these references, these ands of reference, we have to have a much bigger idea of what a pet is. Because we see this person has a pet. They love this turtle, God bless them, and you can see how they sort of come out and they eat okay. I do, and I see parts of their relationship with this turtle, which is similar to my relationship with my dog. I can see it. But so my idea has to get bigger. It has to, because I see the relationship, and I trust that relationship, right? All right. So here, and is augmentative when used with reference. It forces you to expand your idea. I think this is what our early brothers and sisters here at Pentecost are dealing with, right? They had assumed a restrictive, okay, well, if you're going to become Jewish, like you need to be circumcised, we have to do these things, we have the Torah, and we see these things. We're not really even getting into all of the arguments about diet and about circumcision or anything. That hasn't even happened yet. And already, the Spirit is showing something a little bit different, and everyone's just a little bit confused. What does this mean? What does this mean? That the Spirit of God, right? The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, led us out of Egypt, is speaking to us in all of these languages. What does this mean? Please go to the next one. This is a book that's come out. It's a good book if you haven't read it. But in this book, this author, Carol Schultz, discusses, it's called Lost and Found, and she really thinks about these and concept as well. She writes it kind of as a memoir of falling in love with her partner, and her father's passing away. Right? And so she's existing in this space where there's joy and grief simultaneously. There's this multimodal thing, right? And grief isn't a subset of joy, and joy isn't a subset of grief. There's this multimodal sort of existence happening right now. And it is, if anyone has gone through this, gone through grief of losing a parent, losing a loved one, you know how charged and existentially challenging that is, to be processing these things, to be laughing at jokes, during the midst of this. It blows up your emotional life. It makes all of your reference kind of inadequate. It changes who you are as a person because you have to get bigger. So she talks about happiness and duty, right? She talks about happiness and play and how these things are simultaneous and they make her bigger, right? These things happen at the same time. Let's go to the next one. Throughout the Bible, we see this as well. We see different perspectives, right, on the same topic. So in Leviticus, there's 4 slides. We're not going to read them all. But in Leviticus, the first 4 chapters of Leviticus tells us how to do sacrifice, what to do sacrifice. So the beginning of Leviticus 1 talks about offering livestock, sacrifice. I'm not going to read all of it. And tells you how to do it, how to prepare it, and whatnot. If you go to the next one, the Leviticus 2, we talk about grain offerings, what ways to do this. In Leviticus 3, we have the sacrifice of well-being, so which animal that you sacrifice in these sort of contexts. In 4, we talk about what animals should be offered for sins that are unrecognized by the community. The author of Leviticus is very concerned with temple worship, very concerned with purification, preparing oneself to enter into the presence of God and to have that relationship. It's the 4 chapters, right? Also in our scriptures, we have Isaiah. Can we go to the next one? Who says, I'm going to see it on mine because I'm not going to read it up there. I don't think I have it for myself. Okay, I'm going to read it up there. Isaiah says in chapter 1, "The multitude of your sacrifices, what are they to me, says the Lord? I've had more than enough of burnt offerings, of rams, and of the fat of fatted animals. I have no pleasure in the blood of bulls and lambs and goats. When you come to appear before me, who has asked this of you, this trampling of my courts? Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. New moons, Sabbaths, and convocations. I cannot bear your worthless assemblies, your new moon feasts, and your appointed festivals. I hate them with all my being. They have become a burden to me. I'm weary of bearing them. When you spread out your hands in prayer, I hide my eyes from you. Even when you offer many prayers, I'm not listening. Wash and make yourself clean. Take your evil deeds out of my sight. Stop doing wrong. Learn to do right, to seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, and plead the case of the widow." These are both in our scriptures. We hold Leviticus and Isaiah to be true. We hold them to be sacred. We read these 2 things, and somehow we have to have a bigger idea of who God is. Right? We claim these as true, but there seems to be conflict here. So we have a bigger interpretation. Right? We have to think bigger. For both of these to be true, I have to change the way I've thought. Right? Genesis 1 talks about seventh-day creations. Right? We have the heavens and the earth, we have the sky, the lands and plants, the sun, moon, and stars, animals and the sea of the birds, land, animals, and humans on day 6, and then the day rests. Okay? In Genesis 2, we have a non-ordered account of creation. We have the earth is dry and has no plants at the beginning. Then we have streams bursting forth from the day. God forms Adam from dust. God then plants a garden and puts man there. God makes trees. God tells man to work the land and not to eat the tree of good and evil. And then God makes Eve, sorry, not even. God makes Eve. Wow. Yeah. Out of Adam's rib. So the order is different. The order is different. Some translations try to fiddle with the verbs a little bit to try to make it seem like this is a perfect instead of, I'm not going to get into that, doesn't matter. The order is different. And so, but these are literally like in sequence, one after the other. Genesis 1, Genesis 2. 2 versions of the same story. And so we have to ask, oh boy, all right, so there was dogs and there's cats too, so there's dogs and cats. Well, there's Genesis 1 and there's Genesis 2, so there's Genesis 1 and 2, and they're both true. They're both, we go to the next one too? Sacred, right? So we hold them, these both things, to be holy, and we need to, we're forced as believers to project, to augment our understanding of who God is, where both of these things are true at the same time. Okay? Can we go to the next one? All right. Oh, actually, I think I'm supposed to say stuff before that. Forgive me. So, in the Bible, we read about the law, right? What we do to maintain ritually pure before our Maker because we love Him, and the prophets who continually rail against these very precepts, saying, you've forgotten the fatherless, you've forgotten the orphans, you've forgotten the stranger. Remember, you were strangers. The law and the prophets, we have to struggle with. What does this mean? We read the Bible, and it's concerned with temple worship and social justice. What does that mean? We have a creation day with man made on day 6, and we have a creation story with man made on day 1. What does that mean? We have, in our community right here amongst us, we have people who are convicted about radical inclusion, right, on LGBTQ issues. We have people who are radically convicted on the Christian sexual ethic. What does that mean? So these new brothers and sisters that we are finding as we do Bible translation, it's a beautiful graph. So we're looking at Bible translation through history, right? You can see a ridiculous exponential increase in interest, right? Wycliffe Bible Translation is part of this. Bible Society is part of this. You as a church are supporting us. Many of you as individuals are supporting us, which we couldn't do without you. Our ministry is a product of this value of yours that we're doing. The Spirit is doing something, right? As we have this huge diversity in people contemplating the Scriptures in different languages, this makes brothers and sisters with people that are radically different, who live radically different than we do today. So what does this mean? Right? We read in Revelation that people from every tongue and tribe and nation will be worshiping together. Well, I'm serious. What does that mean? What does that mean? The unity of the church and the diversity of all of this. So I have been on boards with Mexican and indigenous colleagues as we discuss super difficult sort of logistic stuff, super difficult PR things. Someone's done something inappropriate. There's been embezzlement or something. And I can tell you, I almost never agree with my Mexican colleagues in these meetings. Almost never. I always have a different perspective. Well, what does that mean? Is God, are they dumb? They're not dumb. Are they, what does that mean? Am I right? But it calls me to be humble in the face of that and be like, I've got to figure out why I'm so regularly disagreeing with my Mexican brothers and sisters here. Why am I so often, like honestly, it's a me or them. We can't both be right, or how do we both be right? Some of you may know a beautiful poem by Walt Whitman where he says, do I contradict myself? Very well, I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes. I think in that same way, our God is large, and we are small, like really, really small. I don't know if any of you saw the article that talks about the spins of galaxies in the universe. Well, they looked at the spins of galaxies, and they see that galaxies are disproportionately spinning in the same direction, in one direction. And so if it was a random spinning of galaxies, they should be sort of 50-50 or close to the directions of the galaxies. And so one of the theories is that our universe is circling in a black hole of something bigger. Oh, jeez. God is big, and we are small. And our theologies are still small. But something is happening, right? And we need to have not a more restrictive view of who God is. We've got to have a much bigger view of who God is. So let us wonder at God's greatness, respecting our brothers and sisters' insights into Him, being humble when our understanding seems to conflict with that of our brothers and sisters. Because it does. In this room, it does. In my family, it does. Let us rejoice that the covenant did not stop with the Jews, nor the Greeks, nor the Chinese, nor the Swedes, nor the Mazatecs. But, as the Scripture tells us, it will continue to all creation. So, brothers and sisters, let us rejoice in this humongous, this large God that we have. And let us be encouraged by the differences that we have and humble as we confront them and hold them to be sacred. Right? We can hold it to be sacred. I know this is the flaxseed breakfast sometimes, and many of us want chicken and waffles and be like, nah, I got it. I figured it out. Flaxseed breakfast. This is, right, a time to call for humility as we consider this. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
I want to know you, Lord, like I know a friend. I want to know you, Lord. I want to know you, Lord, like I know a friend. I want to know you, Lord. So I'm laying down all of my religion. I'm laying down. So I'm laying down all of my religion. I'm laying down. I want to know you, Lord. You may stand. So I think that I could box you in, but I'm laying down. I want to know you, Lord. I used to think that I could box you in, but I'm laying down. I want to know you, Lord. So I'm laying down all of my religion. I'm laying down. I want to know you, Lord. So I'm laying down all of my religion. I'm laying down. I want to know you, Lord. Lord, I've been told to be ashamed. Lord, I've been told I don't measure up. Lord, I've been told I'm not good enough. But you're here with me. I reach out and you find me in the dust, and you say no amount of untruth can separate us. So I'm laying down all of my religion. I'm laying down. I want to know you, Lord. So I'm laying down all of my religion. I'm laying down. I want to know you, Lord. I will rejoice in the simple gospel. I will rejoice in you, Lord. I will rejoice in the simple gospel. I will rejoice in you, Lord. So I'm laying down all of my religion. I'm laying down. I want to know you, Lord. I'm laying down all of my religion. I'm laying down. I want to know you, Lord.
You may be seated. Well, this week we have a fun thing happening as we prepare to send our high school students to Mexico for the week. We get to leave at, we're going to meet at the church at 5:40 a.m. tomorrow morning. Exciting times. But at this time, I'm going to invite everyone who's going on that Mexico trip to come on up here, join me on stage. Jack, Elliot, I see you staring awkwardly at me. Come on up here. Lise in the back. There's others. Come on up. All right, so this is part of our team. We have some others that couldn't be here today, but we have this opportunity. We do this every year. We partner with Young Life of Santa Cruz County and Young Life Adventures, and we go down to Baja, and we have the opportunity to help in building a house for a family. We get to work alongside them. We get to hang out with orphans. There's a ministry down there that they're building a retreat center and a rehab facility for people coming out of like drugs and alcohol and things. And so we get to work alongside all of these ministries and have a good time. They don't know this, but I'm going to ask them to just say their name and if they've been on this trip before and maybe what year in school you're in, okay? So.
I'm Lise, and I haven't been to this before, and I'm going into sophomore year at Harbor.
I'm Elliot, and I haven't been on this trip before, and I'm going into sophomore year at Scotts Valley.
I'm Hayden. I have been on this trip before, and I'm going to be a senior at Scotts Valley.
I'm Jack, and I haven't been on the trip, and I'm a sophomore at Scotts Valley High.
I'm Lucas. I've been on this trip before, and I'm going to be a freshman at Cabrillo.
I'm Diego. I've never been on this trip before, and I'm going to be a junior at Scotts Valley.
I'm Josh. I have been on this trip before, and I'm going to be a junior at Scotts Valley High.
Excellent. So I wanted to take this opportunity and for us as a church to pray for this team as we go to Mexico tomorrow morning. So I actually asked Ryan to come and pray over us as we go tomorrow morning for the week.
Oh, is the mic on? Padre que está en los cielos, te damos gracias por ese grupo de jóvenes aquí presentes hoy, despojando de una semana de sus vidas para dedicarse a tu obra y a los más necesitados entre nosotros. Que los bendigas ricamente, Señor, tanto a ellos también como a la gente en las comunidades donde van a estar sirviendo. Señor, te alabamos porque tú eres grande, no te has olvidado de los necesitados, de los huérfanos, de las viudas y de los extranjeros, Señor, que pongas estas palabras en los corazones de esos jóvenes que están aquí presentes y que traigas bendición, bendición en cada alma. Eso te ofrecemos en el nombre de tu Hijo Jesús. Amén.
Gracias. And if you're wondering about the church as I prepare to head down to Mexico with the students, we have the opportunity this morning. I'm going to introduce you to someone who's going to be our short-term interim pastor is what I'm calling this. So Danny Wallen, would you come up here? And so Danny has been a pastor. He's worked at camps. Danny and I actually met the summer that my wife Emily and I met working at camp. And so I've known Danny as long as I've known Emily. Not in the same way, but hey, what? But I'm just gonna take this moment. We're gonna get to know Danny a little bit because he's gonna be preaching the next 4 weeks. He's gonna be part of our staff team for the next 4 weeks. And so, Danny, why don't you just give us a little bit of like your brief ministry history? And I know you've had a few like touch points with the covenant over the years.
Happy to be here. This is fun to be in a good church, and you're a good church from what I see and sense. So, yes, I've done a little bit. When I was finishing, I worked at Mount Hermon as a summer staffer, and loved camp, and wasn't sure if I'd go into camp or church ministry. So I went and did an internship at First Covenant Church of Oakland. That's kind of the first big thing I did with the covenant. And then while I was in seminary, I did an internship at Alpine Conference Center, and so that was another like, oh, do I do camp or do church? And then I worked mostly in camps at Mount Hermon, and then I was on staff at Mission Springs. That's where I know some of you when I was a program director there. And then I've worked at camps earlier years, and then churches. I worked at a really big church in Orange County, and then recently I was a pastor at High Street Community Church, which is right by UCSC, for about 10, 11 years, church about this size. And I grew up in a church about this size, so it feels really normal for me to be in a place like this. So more camp than church, but both of those, that's what I've kind of done.
Excellent, thank you. And then what are some things that you like to do for fun in your free time?
As you can probably see, I get scalded by the sun a lot. I'm outside a lot, so I love to surf, mountain bike some, do some hiking, and I love golf. I do that a bit with my son, so I like to golf of both types, stoner golf and ball golf.
What's stoner golf?
Disc golf. I love to play disc golf.
I honestly didn't know the answer to that question. So on the back of your bulletins, Danny's contact info is in there. He is around. Part of his job is to meet with you. So reach out to him because he doesn't know all of you. He knows some of you, but not all of you. And he's going to be here for the next 4 weeks. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, so you have my cell number and my email address. If you just want to connect, email's easiest because you can say, here's who I am, especially if I don't know you, and here's what I'd love to talk about. That's great. Certainly you could text me about something, especially if there's a crisis. That's like the quickest, easiest way to get to know me. But I don't really want to get a 6-page text. I'd rather get a 6-page, not even 6-page, but, email one way, text another way. But, yeah, I live 2 miles from here and would love to hang out.
Excellent. I know that is, I won't speak for Danny, but I know as a pastor, I love meeting with people. And so this is what we do. So please feel free to reach out to Danny. Always reach out to me, except when I'm in Mexico next week. You can still reach out, but I can't meet with you. So Danny is going to be preaching the next 4 weeks. Why don't you just give us a quick preview of what you're going to preach about as you do a 4-week sermon series with us?
So as the good Lord often does, I didn't know what where's Ryan at? I didn't know what he was preaching on this morning. And so my dad was a college professor. He taught sciences, geography, geology, that kind of stuff. And I was a biology major in college. So science I really love. And then I went and got a seminary degree, a master's and a doctorate in theology stuff. And so I speak creation and I speak theology or the Bible. And I don't run into a lot of people that can do both of those. When I do, I kind of geek out like, oh, that's awesome. But theologians will say there's general revelation, which is creation, how God reveals himself in creation. And then there's special revelation, which would be the scriptures. And so what I'm going to do, having kind of a background in both of those, I love this. But one of the things that Ryan really set us up well for is to go, it's not science or the Bible. Right? How do they work? It's the same author. Science is just our interpretation of what we see in creation. So I was raised by a dad and mom, she was an educator also, just to go like, hey, embrace this. There's some conflicts we don't understand, etc. I'm not really going to be preaching about that, but I will take, for example, I will preach about the raven, where Jesus says, consider the raven. He actually says, study the raven. And so he created the raven. Why is that back up what he's teaching in that Bible passage? So we'll definitely look at key Bible passages which have items of creation in there. But then we'll do a little portion, like you did with some linguistic stuff. You were saying it was nerdy. Well, we're going to get some science nerdy stuff in here, and you get to see how both of them work together. So I'm really energized by that. I'm not an expert on it, but I can point us in the right direction, and I hope that you come curious and that you leave curious, because I'm going to it's kind of expanding your thinking, which is what he was really challenging us to go like, it's an and there's a bigger way to look at this stuff. So that's my hope, that's my excitement, and I'm looking forward to doing it.
Thank you, Danny. It's an honor to have Danny here, and I'm excited to work with him for the next 4 weeks, so thank you. So as we are in an interim season, as we are searching for our next pastor, this is the experiment that we're doing. Danny's going to be our first experiment of having a short-term interim pastor. We've got some other folks that we have lined up and are lining up to do this and be part of our church for a short amount of time. And so I'm really excited to try this out. But as we think about this interim time, I'm going to invite Sarah to come up as our church chair and just give us an update on that. I'm going to send the offering plates around, so as you receive the offering, go ahead and just pass that down the row. Think of something that you are grateful for, and then when it gets to the end of the row, you can pass it behind you, and then after Sarah's update, Ryan is going to bless us.
I'm grateful for all of you. I'm just going to say mine out loud since I don't get to hold the plate. Hi, everybody. Okay, so we have some updates. The search committee met last week, and I was fortunate enough I get to sit in as the liaison from the leadership team, and it was amazing. I was so encouraged by the people in that room, by their hearts, by their minds. So many people said how honored they were to even be asked, which says a lot to me about how sacred they see their job. So I just want you guys as the congregation to know that those are the people who are setting out to sort of lead this transition, and it's going to be a long process, as we've said. Could be 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. So just remember to keep praying for the search committee, for the leadership team, and for whoever God is going to bring here for us in the long run. Just a couple of things about what the search committee is doing. They were kind of setting the foundation, just spiritually and relationally, to work as a team, because this is going to be, kind of a roller coaster probably, like Ryan said. We have a lot of different people in this church, and how do we expand how we see our congregation and what God's doing here. So there was the beginnings of the discussions. They're really working out on how they're going to set up phases, communicate with the church well, and kind of get organized. So we will keep you updated as we can through this process. I think that's it on the search committee. I just wanted to take a minute to thank everyone for volunteering and just the joy that you bring. Thank you to our special crew for worship today. That was awesome. I was really struck by the book that Ryan posted, The Lost and Found, and just this whole idea of and. I wrote down happiness and duty. And there's been a theme in a lot of people I've spoken to of just the tension of trying to find balance. There's so much going on in life. We are holding so much with our children and aging parents, or our own health, our jobs, and everyone's still showing up here and serving one another. And so I just want to thank you for being willing to hold both of those things that can be a lot. And if maybe you've been afraid because you feel like you have too much on your plate, I would just encourage you, maybe God wants to help expand you to hold multiple things at once, things that are hard and joyful at the same time. I know I feel that often in serving, and it can be hard, and it can also be really rewarding and growing. So again, thank you everyone for all you're doing. We need you. We need your unique perspective and gift, and yeah, thank you.
Okay, if you put your hands out in front of you to receive the benediction, may the contradictions that you notice help you to realize that you are small and that God is not. We praise you, Lord, for your bigness. We praise you for our brothers and sisters that we do not quite understand. You are bringing all things to you, sweet Jesus, and we thank you that you have drawn us. Go, brothers and sisters, and rejoice that we have all humankind and all creation to help us understand how great is our God. Amen.
He's not afraid of impossible odds. This is the promise that I'm standing on. Nothing can stop an unstoppable God. This is the promise that I'm standing on. Nothing can stop an unstoppable God. I will not listen to the lie that says it can't be done. I know my war's already won, and I'm claiming victory, 'cause I know who's fighting for me. Nothing can stop an unstoppable God. He's not afraid of impossible odds. This is the promise that I'm standing on. Nothing can stop an unstoppable God. This is the promise that I'm standing on. Nothing can stop an unstoppable God. Where does my help come from? Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. Where does my help come from? Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. Nothing can stop an unstoppable God. He's not afraid of impossible odds. This is the promise that I'm standing on. Nothing can stop an unstoppable God. This is the promise that I'm standing on. Nothing can the same power that rolled the stone away, the same